A few months ago, I made a video on how to make an X-Men game using X-Men Days of Future Past as the foundation. With a solid concept, it probably shouldn't be the first game in the series, so meaning I have to start from scratch. I spoke with some friends and they suggest I focus on an X-Men comic that features an underrated but incredibly brutal villain. Well, there are plenty of brutal villains in the X-Men universe, but if we're talking about sheer savagery, one above the rest stands as underrated.
You want to shoot me? Shoot me! Don't shoot him!
Not yet. Wolverine? Well, I must admit, this is certainly the last place I'd expect to find you. How long has it been? 15 years? You haven't changed one bit. Me, on the other hand, nature.
Meet William Stryker. If you're familiar with the X-Men movies, you know him as the man behind the Weapon X program. But trust me, even though that did happen in the comics, he is much worse in the comics. Hardcore X-Men fans recognize him from his first appearance in the storyline God Love, Man Kills. And that's exactly the story we're basing the game on. Before diving into gameplay mechanics, it's crucial to discuss William Stryker in the world of X-Men. The themes of prejudice are never subtle, neither is Stryker. He embodies the dark side of humanity's fears and hatred towards mutants, making him the perfect antagonist for an X-Men game. And while he did appear in games such as X-Men Origins Wolverine, we're talking about the one that appeared in the actual pages of the comic. Something that is far more aggressive than what we see in the silver screen. William Stryker is a former military man turned religious zealot. His story begins in a tragedy with his wife gave birth to a mutant child, an event that shattered his faith and drove him to commit a horrifying act, killing both his wife and his newborn son. The traumatic experience twisted Stryker's mind, leading him to believe that mutants are an abomination of the eyes of God. Consumed by his belief, he dedicated his life eradicating mutants, using his influence to form the Purifiers, a fanatical group determined to carry out his genocidal mission. Stryker's warped sense of righteousness and his unwavering commitment to cause make him one of the most terrifying villains in the X-Men universe, as he represents the real-world dangers of bigotry, religious extremism. This was one of the few times the X-Men seriously questioned whether they should let an enemy live. Stryker's actions were so heinous, his hatred was so profound that even the X-Men, who usually strive to avoid taking lives, were pushed to a moral limit. What makes the story even more intense was Magneto's involvement. Known for his more aggressive stance on mutant survival, Magneto temporarily joined forces with the X-Men to stop Stryker, recognizing that Stryker's threat extended beyond their usually ideological battles. This uneasy alliance highlighted just how dangerous Stryker was. If Magneto, a longtime adversary, was willing to fight alongside the X-Men, it underscores the gravity of the situation.
When will these people learn how to fly?
Of course, the central theme of the story, and by extension the game, is that faith should never be wielded as a weapon to justify prejudice. History is full of extreme examples where religion has been twisted by fueled hatred and violence, like the witch hunts, the rise of the Klan, the actions of an overzealous fanatic at a pride parade. The problem isn't religion itself. This isn't about taking a Family Guy style approach where Brian Griffin tries to erase Christianity and Judaism just to fulfill his own desires.
Christ the Royal Master leads against the foe.
Rather than that, it's about people choose to interpret and use their faith. In the wrong hands, even the most sacred beliefs can become a tool of oppression, and the dangers that characters like Stryker represents. There was even a moment with David Tennant in Doctor Who explaining this.
Not so much.
What magic is this?
Let me tell you about the Sybil, the founder of this religion. She would be ashamed of you. All her wisdom and insight turned sour. Is that how you spread the word, eh? On the blade of a knife?
Yes, a knife that now welcomes you.
And keep in mind, the X-Men doesn't have one, but two members with strong religious backgrounds, which adds depth to the narrative exploration of faith. One of the most prominent members is Kurt Wagner, also known as Nightcrawler. Originally a performer in the Munich circus, Nightcrawler eventually embraced his faith and became a Catholic priest. His deep spirituality is a defining aspect of his character, often guiding his moral decisions and providing a stark contrast to villains like Stryker, who misused religions for evil. In a poignant moment that showcases his commitment, Nightcrawler even officiated the wedding of his mother, Mystique, and Destiny, highlighting his beliefs in love and acceptance despite the complicated family history.
Our ability to understand God's purpose is limited, but we take comfort in the fact that His love is limitless.
I used to buy into all that, but I've lived too long, and I've done too much.
Life will always be hard. I understand this better than most. Yet despite it all, people of every faith believe there is a God who loves them. Can so many be wrong? Open your heart, Herr Logan. Would it hurt so much to see the world through different eyes?
And another member of the X-Men with a deep religious background is Rahne Sinclair, also known as Wolfsbane. Unlike Nightcrawler, Rahne's relationship with her faith is far more troubled. Born to a sex worker and her father is a Catholic priest, Rahne's life was marked by rejection and fear. Her mutation allowed her to transform into a wolf, led to her being hunted as she was a witch. This traumatic upbringing, fueled by the harsh judgment of her own father, shaped her conflicted views of faith and morality. Fortunately, she was saved by Dr. Moira McTaggart, who provided her with a safe haven and helped her understand that her abilities didn't make her a monster. Rahne's struggle to reconcile with her faith and identity adds a layer to this game's exploration of how religion can be both a source of comfort and a tool of oppression, depending how it's wielded. And believe me, as X-Men comics progressed, William Stryker's descent to madness became more pronounced. He not only gained cybernetic enhancement, but also continually regrouped and expanded the Purifiers. His ambitions reached new heights as he even acquired Sentinel tech, aiming to aim and kill every mutant on the planet. Just to keep in mind, this is the same man who literally sent a Black Ops team to raid a school in the second movie. With an escalating threat, our game needs a diverse roster of heroes to take on the Purifiers. I'm considering a main roster of 15 characters with 5 additional for DLC, bringing a total of 20 characters. The game will feature a God of War-like combat system, with each character having light and medium attacks as well as range attacks. And here's a breakdown of how different each character will fit into the system. With characters like Gambit and Cyclops, they are basically good with range attacks, Cyclops using his optic blast and Gambit his kinetically charged cards. They specialize in adept in combat, balancing powerful ranged attacks with effective melee moves.
How long I've been waiting for this. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
Characters who can fly, like Rogue, Storm, Jean, and maybe Iceman due to his ice slides, will be able to use aerial maneuvers and even ground pounds if they land on the ground fast. Characters like Beast, Colossus, Wolverine, and even Nightcrawler specialize in lunge attacks, and maybe Nightcrawler with his teleportation as well. The game's roster will consist of Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean, Storm, Beast, Rogue, Gambit, Colossus, Jubilee, Kate Pryde and Lockheed, Nightcrawler, Iceman, Wolfsbane, Sunspot, and Magneto, with DLC characters including Bishop, Cable, Domino, Magic, and Deadpool. Okay, but what about open world areas? Of course, the mansion will be very explorable and open world, and only in the mansion will you ever play as Charles Xavier as he roams around the mansion. It'll be like Hogwarts Legacy, where basically you can explore the school grounds and even attend classes. The American Midwest with a diverse rural landscape and small towns, like canyons and all that stuff. New York City, basically someone like Spider-Man. The Canadian wilderness, basically a lot of forest area to cover. And the island nation of Genosha. And you have to use the Black Bridge to traverse to these lands and add a layer of adventure and exploration. In the game, players can choose up to 4 characters for their team. You might be wondering, if this is multiplayer, and is it necessary? At this point, no. Similar to the Arkham Knight, which allows players to switch characters in mid-fight, this approach lets players experience a variety of abilities without the need for a live service online multiplayer. The choice to avoid the pitfalls of some live service games, where the focus can shift away from compelling storytelling to meet online demands, potentially compromising the game's quality. And you have no idea how big that has gotten so far. If you want to add skins, just add them into them, like leveling up with tokens like Spider-Man PS4. If it helps the fans to keep happy and doesn't kill the company. Plus, for crafting a compelling story for an X-Men game, bring in key figures like Chris Claremont, the original writer of God Loves Man Kills, Bo DeMaio and Matthew Chauncey for X-Men 97, and Christo N. Cage, who is renowned for his work for Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Law & Order. They will be a strong move. Their deep understanding of these characters and dramatic storytelling could greatly enhance the game's narrative. If these creators were involved, it would ensure a respectful, authentic portrayal of the X-Men universe. If such experience were not utilized and the game fell short of its potential, it would frustrating see other studios, like Rocksteady, fail to deliver a similar level of storytelling excellence. Will this game work? Possibly, but it requires the right company like Santa Monica or Insomniac to bring it to life. Creating a game like this demands a deep level of passion, something that games like the Arkham games, Ultimate Alliance, Lego, Spider-Man, Deadpool, Captain America, Midnight Suns, even Wolverine truly have, and they're great. These games succeeded because the developers cared about the source material and put in enough effort to make something special. Sure, it costs a lot of money to make these kinds of games, but I'd rather see a project driven by passion than a flop due to the lack of care and creativity. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel for more content.